Mr. Minister, over to you again. What level of accountability do you expect Sierra Leoneans to demand, especially as we await, the findings from the investigation? You've just mentioned the preliminary from the chief officer from Fire Force, who mentioned that it was electricity malfunctions.
Yeah, but not EDSA related at this minute. So
yes.
Think about it this way. Guma sends water into your building. If your pipes are damaged and it overflows, it's not Guma's fault. So the reason why I get frustrated sometimes, and I try not to express my frustration, is listen to what my brother Alfonso just said. He just went on a tirade against EDSA without knowing the facts. It's classic. It's true we have one problem with EDSA, and there are challenges with citizens in this country. That's a fact. You can hold that separate. But don't rush don't rush into conclusion about an issue that you don't know yet all the facts on. I just said the professional opinion of the firefighters is that it was a domestic fire situation because of electrical appliances. So what the investigation is doing now is a few things. One, to establish the cause. And as Reverend just said, we need to understand whether this was because of negligence, that should lead to heads rolling, or unintentional. Yes, of course. Look, the consensus, the leadership of the Vice President was clear. A thorough investigation must be conducted. Okay. Police is already speaking to all the people who were in, around, who work there. Everybody is being reviewed. That is what is required by any place where something like this happens. Is there going to be accountability? That will be based on the findings of the reports. That's the right thing to do, and that's right for them to call on. I just want to plead, because I know in a moment of crisis, it's easy to want to be the headline. And I see Alfonso has used some of the big words he's been practicing on me, unfortunate and all that. But he's wrong. The Oval Office, check, Google, where's the Oval Office, where the president sits? I've actually been there, so I know too. And it's public information. The floor where the British Prime Minister lives is public information. It's on the 3rd floor, on 10 Downing Street. It's public information. This is in any democracy. I'm telling him as a matter of fact. I didn't Google it. I've been to these places. I know it. And I know this because before we put out that information, we checked. We're not, look, we have a whole set of people around the table who review all of these things. And we're very intentional about what we were doing in terms of catering to the public needs, the need for public information, and all of that. So yes, he can shout. And again, in a democracy, we can have a debate. Reverend knows I respect him. We've had a public debate many times. But to now try to sit down now and use big words and throw against me versus Reverend, we can have a debate. It's a debate. In this case, it's a bit of a heated debate. But he knows I have no malice whatsoever. And I'm just sharing my own position as he's trying to share his, which is what we should do. That institution used to be actually under our ministry when we just came. And now they're where they are, and they're independent, and we're proud of them for the work that they're doing. That's what democracy requires. So 3 important things. 1, the place of where the president lives is not secret. They are wrong on that. Fact, dead wrong. Everywhere on earth, where the president lives, his floor is not secret information. In a democracy, it's public information. The Oval Office, its location, the floor is public information. Everybody knows that. So that's number 1. Number 2, the call for transparency and for a speedy investigation. They are right on that. We should all do that. And the citizens should call for that, and we should all work together and ensure not just that this is done in a speedy and transparent way, but yes, if the investigation shows that there was negligence or some action, there should be accountability. And I can assure you, His Excellency the President, the Vice President who is leading on this right now, are committed to that. And number 3, very important for us not to rush into conclusions and impugn our state institutions. They might have problems on their own. And I'm sure EDSA has many problems. As Minister of Information, I have to defend them too many times than I would like to. But the fact of the matter is that focus on the fact here. The professional opinion of the Chief Fire Officer who has done a preliminary investigation is that it is a fire incident that was caused, probable cause, is because of some malfunctioning of electrical appliances that are left on, appliances that are overloaded, leading to a spark that has led to the fire that has engulfed and severely damaged. I think the public should know this. The 3rd floor and the 4th floor, those offices are badly damaged. We use the word severely in our release because we want the public to know that the damage is not like, oh, now some small fire. This was a huge fire. It required, by the way, the mobilization of every single fire station across Western area, urban and Western area, rural. They had to call for reinforcement. Again, my job, my desire, like them, is for the public to have access to the information, because democracy is dead without information. And that's the information that we have, for the public to know that. Even with all those fire trucks that came from all over, we needed additional backup. We had to mobilize Guma Valley, as I stated in the public release, for Guma Valley to bring additional water bouncers. Now, we're going to have a bigger conversation, as we must, and as they have started alluding to, about our state's preparedness, about how equipped our fire services are, about what we need to do to prevent fire. Not just us as a state for public buildings, but you in your homes. There's too many fire incidents that are being reported right now. These are all reasonable, critical questions that must be asked, and we will ask those questions. But at this stage, the focus is this investigation, what we're doing, and the heroism. I don't want to leave that out. The heroism of the firefighter. I was there. I saw these people coming out of fire. I saw that they risked their lives. I saw that when they were fighting this fire, steps collapsed. These people were fighting. So think about it. A fire is happening. People that don't receive a lot of money, ordinary citizens like you and I, people are running away. They're running into the fire. They are national heroes. Today, on this day, the prevention of that fire from extending to other wings, from coming down to the 2nd floor and others, they deserve a praise from all of us for their heroism.
National sovereignty, the same, means everything. I mean, anything. And protecting State House means everything. Do you see more at stake here, taking into account the severity of the incidents we're talking about?
The reason you have seen from us 2 press releases, I'm doing all the media shows, is because this is serious. The Vice President is called an emergency meeting, met overnight. The next day, the Vice President is directed, inspected, set up a response team, brought all this. This is the definition of serious, my brother. This is the seat of our power. This is the symbol of our states. For there to be any infraction of any kind, it requires all of our seriousness. And this is something I can tell you is been taken at the highest level. But what I don't want to get into is speculations, is to start this gossiping or say, oh, now this, no. Let's follow the fact. And I've given you the fact. The fire officer provided one fact. And I can tell you that not everybody wanted, oh, for us to say this. And I'm telling you that, no, I said the public has a right to this information because this is their building. State House belongs to the people of this country. And so they needed to know, what are your preliminary findings? And I can tell you, that's the fact that I've given you. The preliminary finding is that it was because of overload of electrical equipment and within the building. And that's where, and by the way, on the 3rd floor is their professional opinion, there was the epicenter of the fire, and then moved over to the 4th floor. That's the fact as we know them. And that's the fact. And once we have any updates, my commitment to you, and I can tell the people of Sierra Leone that I've done in almost 2 years in this job, is we will bring you the facts as we know them, because you have a right to that information.